The 12th encounter in the Siege of Orgrimmar is the Paragons of the Klaxxi.
There are 9 different Paragons that will need to be killed before you can move on.
There will only ever be 3 fighting at a time. When one is killed, the next one, with the buff ready to fight, will jump in. The problem with this fight is that the 3 starting Paragons are always going to be different. The order in which they jump in will also be different, making this a hard encounter to explain. Each Paragon will interact differently with one another depending on what other 3 are out at a time. There is also a buff that the Paragons get called Paragon's Purpose. This is a stacking damage buff given to the other surviving Paragons. This will heal the 2 survivors to full and increase damage. Keep this in mind when selecting who to kill. If the stacks get up to about 4, damage might become too high to control. When a boss dies, his corpse will become clickable and provide a buff for one person. Some of the buffs are role specific. We found that the fight goes a fuckload smoother if you designate an intelligent individual to mark the boss that needs to be DPS, preferably someone who understands which bosses shouldn't be out at the same time together. The best that we can do is try to explain how to deal with each one individually.
Kastik the Manipulator.
Kastik will create 4 hungry Kunchongs around the edge of the area. When one dies, a new one will spawn. These guys don't move, and they interact with Kastik's abilities. Thick Shell makes them immune to all damage, although you can break the shields with Reeve. There isn't much of a point to do so, though. Everyone needs to be staggered in a way that they don't come between another raider and the boss. Sonic Projection is a beam that will cause high damage to its target, and people caught in between the target and the boss. Kastik will cast Mesmerize on random players. Mesmerize will cause that player to be mind-controlled and start suffering damage. The player will walk towards one of the Kunchongs, dying when they reach it. The Kunchong will cast Devour, dealing decent damage every second and gaining 7 energy per tick. While using Devour, Thick Shell is removed, allowing Kunchong to be damaged. Mesmerize will end if the ad takes 30% of his health as damage. Ranged DPS need to kill the Kunchong that the player is moving towards. If someone has Reeve, which is gained from Kilruck's corpse, they can use it to disable the Kunchong's Thick Shell by hitting it with the ability. If a Kunchong gets to 100% energy, then will cast Molt and become a mature Kunchong. The Kunchong will then begin to move and attack people, casting Swipe, which is a hard-hitting frontal cone attack, and they will need to be tanked facing away from the raid. If this does happen, DPS need to drop the ad as quickly as possible and stand behind him while doing so to avoid the frontal attack, of course. Clicking this boss's corpse will give Master Puppets, which allows people to summon an immature Kunchong ad to assist in the fighting for 40 seconds. Any role is able to gain this buff. There really is not much of an official kill priority list, but this guy would be on the lower end of the kill priority. The next guy is Iyuk the Lucid. He will cast Diminish, which deals 34% of the target's health as damage to random raiders. Diminish automatically kills its target if it's below 25% health. Healers, pay attention. The boss will assign players a random shape, color, and number through an ability called Calculate. Shapes are Mantid, Sword, Staff, Sonic Ring, and Amber. Colors are red, purple, blue, green, and yellow, and the numbers go from 1 to 5. The boss will cast Insane Calculation, Fiery Edge. This will use the previously assigned shape and color and number. The boss will target a random player, and then other players who match the categories the target is in are affected, linking them all together with fiery lines. So player A and B can both have numbers 1, and they will be connected. Players E and C could have the colors red, and they will be connected. The affected players take periodic damage, which will decrease the further away they spread apart. Anyone who walks into the beams will also take periodic damage. That all being said, the link players need to move away from one another quickly. This can be difficult depending on who is alive. Clicking this guy's body will give Ingenious. Provides a heal button for the healers that will heal everyone of similar class or race as the target. So don't use the ability on Pandaren rogues or some other extinct race class combination. In terms of priority, I would say that this guy is probably higher up, but not the most important. Because of the complexity of the encounter, the guide will actually have to be split into 2 parts to keep it under the 5-minute benchmark, so look out for part 2.